Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. I got a interesting video in store, I believe. I'm going to talk about my favorite 3 items that I use on the Appalachian Trail and 3 items that I actually decided to leave at home. So stick around, I'll let you know what those are. All right, so I've received requests to go over some of the gear that I used on the Appalachian Trail when I was out there. So I've selected 3 of my favorite pieces of equipment, and I've got 3 other pieces of equipment here that I had intended to take out on the AT, but they were left behind for a couple of reasons. And I'll get into that when I get into each piece. So why don't we start with the items that I actually left at home, items that I had purchased thinking I was going to use them on the trail, but before I left for the trail, I actually decided to leave them at home. And I'll be honest, as I look around at these items, the primary reason that I left them behind was because of weight. So I was really trying to get my weight down below 30 pounds, even closer to that 25-pound range if I could. And that weight that I was shooting for was all in backpack weight, which included a couple days of food and a liter or 2 of water. And I was trying to get that somewhere around the 25-pound mark. So the items I left behind are items that didn't make the cut due to basically the additional weight that I wasn't willing to carry. So one of those I just found a separate option for, and I'll get into that here in a minute. The first item, as I intended to vlog, as you're aware, probably aware of this channel, I had this Pedco tripod. It weighs almost 5 ounces. I thought it was going to be something I was really going to use, but as I began to do some vlogs before I actually went on trail, I was kind of getting used to my editing software and trying to use this for my vlogs. I just found that it was useful, but it wasn't something that I was willing to carry along. I didn't think that I would use it as readily on trail as I thought I might when I first purchased it. It's a great piece of equipment. It's got a real nice part here that holds your cell phone in place, and it's got a bunch of rotational options, all that sort of thing. You can even use this strap to secure it around trees, small trunk trees or tree limbs, or heck, even around your trekking pole, I guess, if you wanted to. But it's just one item that I determined that I wasn't going to take, and to be honest, I'm glad that I didn't now that I look back on it. I think I'll possibly use it in the future for other videos, other outdoor adventures that I get into around here, but carrying it with me and pulling it out every time I was going to shoot something on trail probably wasn't going to really happen that often anyway. So it probably would have become dead weight at some point, at least for me, and that's what I'm telling myself. So this is the first item I left home. Like I said, it's right around 5 ounces or so. The second item that I left home, I bought this clearly to use on trail, is the Flex Tail, one of the Flex Tail pumps. It's not the Zero, not the super light one, but it does have the little hook where you can hang it up in your tent, and has the night light option, which could have been nice, but you can see there it's kind of lit up. So that's just one of the other items I left at home. I think this was around 3 to 4 ounces. And here again, I just kind of come to the realization that I had that very lightweight blow-up bag that my air mattress came with, and I just opted to use it instead. So this got left at home, and that's kind of that. So did not take that on trail. The third item that I did not take on trail that I thought that I might when I purchased it was this this hoodie. It's from Squawk Mountain Company. When I bought it, I thought it was, I still love the thing. I'm still going to wear it, obviously. I just didn't want to take it on trail. When I got it home, when I actually got it delivered, it was right around almost 15 ounces, I think, 14 to 15 ounces for size XL. Super nice, durable piece of gear. Like I said, it's from Squawk Mountain Company. I love the material. I love it for what it is. SQUAK, Squawk Mountain Company. Really nice piece of gear. Gonna use this all the time. I just wasn't willing to pack an additional basically pound on those days when I wasn't wearing it, because it would be in my backpack and I'd be carrying it. So I really looked at that pretty hard. I said, man, there's got to be a way I can trim that down. So I actually ended up with this one that I'm wearing. This one comes in at about 4.5 ounces. It's a Alpha 90 fleece. It's kind of light, I guess you might say, and it kind of snags fairly easily. But for the amount of money that it costs and the amount of weight savings, this was actually one of my. This is probably an honorable mention when it comes to the 3 items I'm going to discuss in a minute that were probably my favorite on trail. This is an honorable mention for sure. I wore this all the time. You can see it in all my AT vlogs. I wore this thing pretty religiously. When it was super cold, I would use it as a mid layer, which is kind of designed for. I would put my puffy down jacket over top of this. I would wear this most nights when I was sleeping outside, whether I was in a shelter or in my tent. I would wear this, so I'd have my t-shirt on. Then I'd have usually, I think, my base layer or vice versa, and then I would have this on as well. Some nights it was down into the 20s and 30s with quite a bit of wind, so it was pretty chilly out there, or downright cold. So I wore this quite a few nights. It has a real nice hood. Kind of put it up around my head and kind of really cinch it down nice and tight, kind of like so, and I would just kind of sleep many nights like that. But I loved how lightweight it is. Like I said, it was right around 4.5 ounces, or maybe 5, but a lot lighter than the one that I had ordered from Squawk Mountain. So this is the one that made the cut. Saved me, I don't know, 8 or 9 ounces, which is quite a bit in the grand scheme of things. So love this thing. This is from Farpoint. If I can give you Farpoint with an E. Love this thing. I wear it all the time, as you can tell. So it's a great piece of gear as well. So let's get into the top 3 items that I really came to appreciate on trail. And I'll start with this one right here. The Garmin InReach Mini 2. I loved this thing. I loved the security and the sense of confidence, I guess it gave me. I use this, of course, every day. It has so many features on it, most of which I probably didn't use, but it has a track back feature in case you get lost. It has a weather report access on there, all kinds of features within that thing that could be used. Of course, it has the SOS button in case I ever got injured or came across somebody that was injured. I could have activated that. Best thing I liked about it, I think, was the convenience of using my cell phone after I downloaded the Messenger app, Garmin Messenger app on my phone. Anytime I was going to start the day or end the day, I just pull out my phone and go into that Messenger app, and I could send a free message to those who I wanted to send it to. And I did that, of course, twice a day. I'd always let them know when I was starting my day and when I ended my day. And I had a lot of peace of mind with that. I knew that my family could track me, those that I was sending it to. They knew exactly where I was, and I found that to be a great piece of equipment. So I loved my Garmin InReach. It never acted up. It never didn't work. If I needed it to, the battery would last. I never pushed it this far, but probably 6 to 8 days easily, and still have battery power without charging it. And that was, it would try to send out every 30 minutes, I believe, is what I had out on, when I had it on the AT. It was every 30 minutes it would ping my location to try to get it out. So obviously if I'd have had it on more often than that, a 10-minute ping, for example, it would have been trying to send out a lot more, and it would have used more battery power. But I think I was on 30 minutes while I was out there, and it would last for days. So it's a great piece of equipment. I would just hang it right here on the outside of my backpack. And the main thing with it is that it has to have a clear view of the sky. So if you're in a building or you got cover over you, a big heavy canopy, for example, it might struggle to get out a message. So there were times, even with not much canopy cover, where I had to take this and actually walk around the shelter or my campsite or something until I heard an audible beep that I knew that it actually got sent out. But that's one thing with it that you got to remember, is you really needs to have a good view of the sky. So if it's a nasty, stormy, cloudy day and you got any kind of cover over you, you might need to kind of move around quite a bit to try to find something open to get that message out. But other than that, this thing's a great piece of equipment. The second piece of equipment that I really loved out there was my Nightcore NU25 headlamp. Just love this thing. It's bulletproof. It's got a lot of options. It's got the red light option where obviously you can use it in the shelter and not disturb many people. You can use it around camp, and it's not blinding people if it happens to hit them in the face, and everybody just kind of gets used to them and uses them out there. So it also has, of course, the very white, bright LEDs for, early morning or later night hiking, or when you get up in the middle of the night to go use the restroom. Say you're in a shelter, which happens. You got to use the restroom. So, I'd put my red LED on as I climbed out of the shelter. And once I got out there, I'd put it on the white to kind of give me more light so I could see where I was going. So it was just a great tool, super lightweight, and I just loved it. I use it all the time. It also has great battery power, so the thing could last for several days without ever needing to be charged. So beyond that, it's also got, if you just kind of click and hold on the button, it will actually give you a battery readout on top, show you exactly where it's at currently, so you'd have a good idea of when you needed to charge it. The third favorite piece of equipment that I had out on trail is none other than my XMid Pro 1 from Durston. Love this. This is my shelter. This is my tent. This thing's unreal. It served me well. I have the one with the sil nylon bottom of the tent. So it's 17.2 ounces, I think, full weight. The DCF floor actually is 15 point some ounces on the 1P. So XMid Pro 1P, it served me well. There was a few people, actually quite a few people that I crossed out there that had, their shelter was 3, 4, maybe even 5 pounds. And if you think about that, this one here was just over a pound. So that really brought my weight down compared to a lot of folks out there who carried a lot more weight and were struggling. Of course, the trade-off is that it's not cheap. It's not a cheap shelter, but it treated me very well. It's plenty of space for me. I'm probably just under 6'2", so, I didn't struggle to sleep in it. I had at least a good 1.5 feet of room, probably at my head, where I would often store some of my clothing and my other equipment that I didn't want sitting outside in the vestibule of my tent. There were some nights I wanted to have quick access to my clothes, especially in case I got cold at night. I wanted to just be able to reach in my clothing bag and put on another layer or whatever. So I would often have quite a bit of gear inside my tent with me, and there was plenty of space as far as I was concerned. I had a 25-inch by 72-inch air mattress in there, so it's considered the wide version of a air mattress versus the 20-inch, and everything just fit well. I have no complaints. No damage that I know of. I always had my Tyvek ground sheet underneath my tent just to make sure that no rocks or roots or anything would poke through, and there's no damage at all. So that shelter held up really well. Although I wasn't out there, for 5 or 6 months, it held up really well for the times that I used it. Dries out super quick when it would have dew on it and I had to get up early and move. I would just set it out when I got to camp that night. Hopefully it had some sun or a little bit of a breeze, and it would dry off in a matter of a couple minutes. So great tent, loved it. Glad I had it with me. And yeah, that's my favorite 3 items that I had. I had a lot of great pieces of equipment, obviously, but these are the 3 that I probably used the most and that I appreciated having the most. My Durston Kakwa 40 backpack was also a wonderful piece of equipment. It kept everything together. There were so many people that were questioning me on my backpack and what it was. It just looks different, and they couldn't believe that I had everything in a 40-liter backpack, that for a winter AT through hike attempt. So, but I did, and I mean, people were just amazed when they saw my backpack and that I had everything in it. So, great piece of equipment. I love that thing as well. Love the Durston gear, so big fan. I guess that's it for now. This video's gone on long enough. So those are at least 3 items that I did not end up taking with me on my Appalachian Trail hike, and my 3 favorite items, as well as an honorable mention, which is this Farpoint Alpha 90 mid-layer hoodie. So I appreciate you guys. If you stuck around this long, thank you. I know there's people that wanted to see a gear video, and hopefully this one meets that intent. So without further ado, I'll let you guys go. Thanks again for stopping by, and we'll chat soon.